Hello YouTube, Southern Wolverine here from the Kerbal Space Center. We are operating again in Operation Laythe here, and in honor of a recent space announcement from last Friday, I've decided to try something a little bit different. And Friday they announced the version 2 of the Dragon capsule, of course, which is the manned version to deliver up to 7 people to someplace like the International Space Station. A lot of cool features. It's got its own return engines. It's not supposed to land with a parachute. It's supposed to land anywhere it wants, using its own thrusters and its own landing legs and things. So this is my attempt to build such a thing in Kerbal Space Program. We'll see if I succeeded or not. I'm not sure about the fuel capacity. We'll have to do some tests. So, the idea here, you see this is the Griffon. I figured I'd name it after another mythical creature. So, I've added some of these small rockets. I'm not actually sure. These should be enough for this. This is pretty light. It should be enough for this to land. I'm not sure about how much fuel I've got, but we'll see. That's why I have parachutes on here for the test run, just in case we don't have enough fuel. We have a nice big battery, so we can do our attitude control solely with the reaction wheels in the command pod. I also have a single solar panel, so I can recharge this battery when it starts to run low, although this size battery should last for quite some time. I've also added a few of these lightweight linear RCS thrusters rather than the clusters, since we really don't need the rotational control, and I've kind of put these on the side, but I've angled them primarily to get forward and backward control, and they'll also give me lateral. So that's the idea anyway. We've of course also got a docking port on here so we can interface with other vehicles, and this should be a quick, efficient way to transfer crew up to things like my space station, the Rock, or to put them onto oh, excuse me, throat's clogging up here for whatever reason. And this would also be a good way to transfer crew up to things like, you know, the various interplanetary vehicles we're going to build. So the first thing I want to do with this is not actually try to fly to space. I actually want to do a quick burn test and see how long this tank will last. So all I want to do is just secure this with a couple of these docking clamps, and just leave the docking clamps before the engines, and just see how long this will burn for. Like I said, if this doesn't burn for very long, then the whole thing kind of breaks down here, and you can almost forget the idea. We just may not be able to do this sort of thing in Kerbal Space Program at this stage, but we'll see. So let's go ahead and activate the first stage, fire up the engines, and let that run. Let's just let that run fall out. See, that is draining through the fuel reasonably quickly. It's not too bad though, actually. We might be able to work with this. Probably still want to land in water short term rather than risk having to go for a gentle touchdown. Okay. Oh, well, it doesn't burn through the fuel quite as rapidly as I was afraid it would. So let's go ahead and revert back to vehicle assembly and try our next test. Alright, so this time we're just going to let it sit right on the launch pad. We've got the parachutes so that when we do lift off we can return via parachute. We just want to do a quick power to weight check here. Let's fire up those engines. Really, I should have reduced the crew here, but just in case something does happen. But we do have the chutes, so we shouldn't really be endangering the crew. Alright, so I'm going to get the SAS on and just throttle up. See at what point I can actually lift off. I should be able to take off here. Okay, it requires almost max throttle to lift off. And now that's not bad necessarily for slowdown, although we're not going to get a whole lot of height here. But it does have a higher than 1-to-1 thrust to weight ratio, especially as we lose some of this fuel. But we're not going to get a whole lot of height just on this. So not a lot of delta V in this, unfortunately. Okay, so that was fast. Shoots, please! Okay, now while we're up here, we might as well test the RCS. Let's go ahead and light that up. We got this side to side. It's not really going to move much for us. So, they do seem to fire and have the right controls in every direction. See, there's our, if we go forward, those 4 fire. We go reverse, those 4 fire. So, that should work for orbital maneuvering. I'm not sure if this, as a sole return vehicle, is entirely practical. So, I think that has to be the next test as we come down wonky on the pad and break our battery. That might be something to consider. We might just change to a smaller battery and put it up inside there, because those batteries might be too fragile to survive a landing. Of course, we could put legs on this and such too. So maybe I'll... Here. Let's try that first. Well, let's check the stats here. The crash tolerance for the battery is only 8 meters per second. For the capsule, for comparison, it doesn't tell us what that is. Come on. Oh no. Wait, no. 45 meters per second. Yeah, those things are quite tough. So let's change this around then. Get it up a little higher where I can actually zoom in on it. Let's take these thrusters, move them up here. Let me get them oriented again and make sure they're... Nope, not what I wanted to do. Not what I wanted to do at all. Thank you. There we go. Alright, so let's get those turned about 45 degrees, like so. Lose this battery. And I don't want to rely solely on the battery in here, because it's 150. Not really as much as I would like. So we'll put one of these guys on, and that's 1,000. That should be more than enough. So that'll be our battery instead, so already one lesson learned. Okay. Let's continue. I'm not sure... Ooh, that's actually not quite what I wanted to do just yet. But for practical purposes in this game, I'm not sure how much this actually does for us. But I did want to see what it takes to recreate something that has just been developed in real life and see if we can do it in the game. Of course, it doesn't look anything like the capsule, since in the Dragon version 2, it's of course all built into this and hidden within this single module. And the landing gear extend out of the heat shield, which is actually fairly impressive. And you have to wonder how that's all sealed up to protect, because there's got to be some seam there, and that seam, of course, must be isolated against heat getting in and damaging internal components and that sort of thing. So not a lot of details in the announcement I saw, but they had a number of pictures that caught my engineering eye and made me kind of wonder about the details. But it almost doesn't matter for the purposes here, since we're in Kerbal Space Program, not real life, so there's only so much we can do. Darn it, give me that back. I want the gear. I want to put some gear on here. I think we'll need 4 of these little guys. Let's see if I do that. See, then it's in the way of the window. Okay, maybe I can do it with just 3. Oh, that doesn't want to go on. I'm interfering with something. Yeah, it doesn't like these. They keep conflicting with the engines. Well, let's try 4 and see what happens when they are extended. Not sure if that's going to work or if these are just going to bend up and break off. Oh well, we can test those later. For now, what I want to do is just slap this on top of a quick rocket, get some height on it, and see how well this can actually slow the descent of the crew capsule. And we'll keep the parachutes in reserve, just in case it proves not to be enough. So I would hate to lose crew during experimentation. That would be kind of a shame. So whatever, I'm not trying to do anything particular here. We're just trying to get some height. You know what, I'll just use this kind of booster stage, put it under there. And we'll throw just a couple solid boosters, I think, on the sides. We won't even use the supersized ones, I'll just use these. Nope, that is the supersized one. I will use the mid-size solid booster. Just to help us get some height going, so we can test our descent characteristics. Strut it all together. Put some of these... Oh, that's a structural part. Structural parts. Put a couple of these launch clamps on there, just so nothing dumb happens. Okay, so we want the engine to fire down here. We want the launch gantry to let us go at the same time. And everything else looks okay, except that our parachutes and our descent engines should be in different stages. Okay. So there we go. Okay. Yeah. Let's just save that for now. And take this out to the launch pad. Oh, I still have the extra crew on board. Oh well. Good luck, guys. You probably won't die or anything. So other than the Dragon version 2 capsule, there's some other space type news that was recent, and that's the there was a planet Kepler 10b, 10c, something like that, which was known to exist before, but was just recently studied in more detail, where they've actually been able to measure its size a little bit better, and it's what they, you know, it's one of those planets that's classified as a super Earth, except they actually call this one a mega Earth because it's even bigger than they thought rocky Earth type planets could be. So think Eve, except even bigger. You know, it's I forget what they said, like 2.5 or 3 times Earth's diameter, something like 17 times the mass. So big boy. And it with a very short year. I forget what it was, but I don't think it's in a habitable zone or anything like that. So it's Earth-like in that it's rocky, and its neighbor is possibly even odder. They call it a lava world because it's so close to its sun that they figure the whole surface is just lava, basically. And that planet, Kepler 10a, I think, has a orbital period, a year, of something like 20 hours or something, less than a day. So that bad boy is really close to its star, just kind of whipping around like crazy. You know what? Damn, this bad boy might actually make it to space. That was unexpected, but actually that would give us a decent test of this rocket, or this descent profile, see if it's any good. Holy cow. We could just about get this into orbit. That was not really what I had in mind. But so I think what I'll do is just burn off this fuel, and then we'll actually be able to test a serious descent. Alright, that's good enough. We still have a little bit of fuel left, but we don't need it. We've gotten what we wanted out of that. And actually, while I'm in space, I can test the RCS thrusters arrangement, see if that's any good. Of course, we don't really have a great relative point of reference. I guess we'll be able to kind of look at what this is doing. We should have a little bit of time in space to fiddle around with that. Oh, there we go. We are in space. Okay. So let's try. Doesn't. Okay, we are. You see, we are moving relative to the pod or the rocket over there. Not sure that this side thrust is really getting the job done. No, we are moving over towards it, so maybe that's enough. I'm going to keep this as minimal and as light as possible just to keep things as efficient as they can be during descent. And oh, I'm actually getting too close to the rocket remains. Yeah, that'll work just fine. So if we can get this with a rocket, something like that, and doesn't have to be much more than that. If we can get that close to a station or a vehicle or something, this here should be more than enough to do docking and things like that. Because we're barely sipping the monopropellant. This thing's light. It has a fair amount of monopropellant for its size, so that should be just fine. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and activate the descent engines, just so they're ready. We'll get turned around, ready to go. See, we got lots of battery, we're starting to eat into it. But no problem for what we're doing. We'll have more than enough to get to the surface. I just got to keep my thumb on the space bar, just in case we prove not to have enough thrust. So now, the plan for this descent is not to burn on the way down until we're down into the light blue, into the very deep atmosphere. That way we get the most out of the atmospheric slowing effect. And I'm coming down in the water, which is good because this is still a test. Not sure how well it's going to work. I'll test the landing gear in a minute. I like that's kind of cool. You see the flame effect is on that thing too as it's coming in. So we're just going to let the atmosphere slow us down, and that's doing a pretty good job of it, as it does. And that should get us down to a few hundred meters per second, at which point we'll start thinking about using the rockets to start slowing ourselves down as well. So we'll use the reaction wheels to get this more or less vertical. Kind of staying with our vector though. And I think at about 5,000 I'm going to start to think about burning and slow it down, although the air is still slowing us down too, so we're not going to get too aggressive with this burn. And we'll just do it as if we're doing, you know, a landing on the moon or something like that. We want this to kind of keep coming down as our altitude comes down, and we'll see how this goes. So this is, at the moment, actually quite promising. I don't want to jinx myself. We should have plenty of fuel. Plenty of fuel to do this. Alright, now I really want to start slowing down because we're still coming down quite fast. Uh-oh. Come on, slow down. Oh, okay, I waited too long. I waited too long for that burn. Let's deploy the emergency chutes. Okay. I'm going to have to fiddle with that one again. I think what I'll do is I'll just do that launch again and come back to you guys in a second, trying this descent again. Okay, so here we are, trying again. Coming just past 50,000 meters at almost 2 kilometers per second. We've actually come further east this time than I did the first time. I launched a little bit more efficiently. So we might actually get a chance to test a landing, although the air drag might drop us down before that little peninsula here. But nothing for it but to wait and see. Should start picking up atmospheric drag. And now, last time you saw I was still at, oh, I'll have to check the replay, but something like 100 meters per second. Oh, there goes the there goes the rocket. Still saw at something like 100 meters per second when I reached 1,000 feet, or 1,000 meters rather. And that's just too fast, so I've got to slow down a lot sooner than that. And we'll just have to see what that does to our fuel situation. No, it looks like we might still come down in this sort of bay area, which might be good. Like I said, I'm not sure that the surface landing, the ground landing is a good idea just yet. That will be another test. One thing at a time. We want to check one thing at a time. Okay, so I'm going to keep an eye on it here. Now we're still slowing down pretty good, so I don't really want to use the thrusters yet. I think the starting at about 5,000 meters is still a decent plan. Just got to ramp up the thrust more quickly from that point. Because when we get to a certain speed, you know, we'll get to our terminal velocity and we won't slow down much more. We won't speed up much more. Actually, as we get deeper, our terminal velocity actually gets slower, thanks to the atmosphere being thicker and there being greater drag. So we would continue to slow down, but we would not slow down enough just from the air. So I want to get this under 100 meters per second as we hit about 2,000 meters. And try to get down to about 50 as we pass 1,000 meters. Okay, so let's ramp up the throttle just a bit. And I'm just making this up off the top of my head. I'm not following any particular flight plan. Okay, let's get this slow down. Come on, slow down. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. You can do it, you can do it. Come on, you little engines. Come on, come on, come on, come on. You can do it, you can do it, you can do it. Well, this is going to be close. Come on, come on, come on. Alright, we're at... Oh, survive. Oh, we lost... we lost all the attachments. But the crew did indeed make it. Oh, man. That's kind of funny, actually. Everything ripped off. Okay. Didn't slow down enough. Well, I might have to experiment with this some more on my own, but it is feasible, it looks like. We might need to put a little bit of extra fuel on board or something that might get the job done. Okay, so we'll table that for now. We know the concept actually has some legs. And speaking of legs, it's time to test them now. How am I going to do that? Okay, we don't need you. Let's just lose this tank. All we want to do is get this up off the ground a bit. Bring it back over land. And try a landing. A land landing. And see if the legs can take it. Oh, we got one right in the window. That's a little annoying. Oh, whatever. Let's do this one more test and see if we can't make the Kerbal Space Program version of the Dragon. Alright, so this time I think I'm going to ease it slightly out to the west instead of the east. So we can come down on land. And I'm not even going to really do a proper launch. We're just going to head out this way a little bit. Just try to get clear of the Kerbal Space Center and land somewhere like there. But I do want to get this up to a few thousand meters. Just so we, have a proper test. Because I would kind of like to try that descent profile again. So let's just punch this and get some height. This rocket looks kind of funny after all the giant things we've been launching. It's kind of stubby. It's almost cute in its stubbiness. It's like those little bulldogs. The pugs and things like that. They're so ugly, but they're small and they're still cute somehow. Alright, that's good enough. Farewell, rocket. Actually, let me turn sideways so I can... Whoa. And then we'll use our RCS to get a little bit of space from it so we don't run into it. Hopefully on the way back down. That would kind of suck. Bye, rockets. Okay, we are done with you. And now let's go ahead and come on, stabilize, damn it. Okay, now we're actually still going up. Come on, fall down, damn you. Alright, now we're going down. So we're going to pick up speed for a while, and then we're going to start to lose it. Let's go ahead and deploy the landing gear. I said deploy the landing gear, damn you. I'm a little concerned with that angle that they're not going to survive. But we will just have to see. And I'll try the powered descent again, and if it doesn't work, I'll just have to throw the parachutes here to save us. Be a shame if Bob, Jebediah, and Ordos here met an untimely fiery end because I forgot to deploy the parachutes. Alright, actually I'm going to try to start the descent burn late and just go to near full throttle right away and see how well that works. So hopefully we won't run out of fuel just as we're about to touch down. Alright, full throttle. That slows us down fairly rapidly, although it also drains our fuel fairly rapidly. So we'll get this down. Let's settle in about 50, so we're at 500 meters, which means we got 10 seconds left before contact. Let's slow this way down. Come on, fuel. Hold out. Hold out. Looks like we're getting a little behind the 8 ball on the speed here. Man, this fuel is right on the wire. Yeah, I'm going to need to add some extra tanks, I think. This is not going to get the job done. Let's just deploy the chutes for the purposes of this test. And see if these landing gear will hold up. Damn, that is so close to working with that the way it is. Oh, that is just enough. Just enough to clear the ground. Huh. Well, okay. Interesting. Alright, so I think what I have to do... Let's revert to vehicle assembly. We just need to add another one of those, like, tiny little fuel tanks. And then I think we have a viable design. So let's pop that off. I'm a little concerned that the additional weight is going to mean we're going to have something of a diminishing return here, though. So I just want to check the weight of something real quick. So let's see... Because it might be worth it to trade out this monopropellant tank for a couple of the lighter ones, since we really probably don't even need that much monopropellant. So I might trade that out for a fuel tank and then put 2 of the little bubble RCS fuels on there. So let's see, those are 0.235 each. This one is 0.55. So changing out for 2 of those doesn't save us much weight, really. A little bit, but not a lot. 0.1 maybe. And this is about the same weight as that. So let's do that. I'm just not sure about that. Alright. That's just, we'll reduce the amount of RCS fuel we're carrying. We'll just tack one of these on. It will be a little asymmetric, but the weight asymmetry should be small enough that it's not really going to affect our flight characteristics. I hope. Yeah, that's, the solar panels aren't going to do anything to balance that out. It shouldn't really do much to, if anything, to us. Let's see if our center of mass is still pretty well centered. You can tell it's maybe just a little bit off in that direction. Yeah, it's flipped it a little bit off center, but not so much that we shouldn't be able to control it. I still feel like that's not quite right. I'm gonna bow to symmetry here and just I don't need 4 of them though, that's for damn sure. Just throw 2 of those on there like that. Can't help it. I gotta be symmetrical. It just seems wrong otherwise. Alright, so that should do it. Now we should have enough fuel to descend, still have plenty of RCS. So that's our design, that's the Griffon. Very cool, save it. Now we can build other designs based around this. We might use this. This could also be something that we attach as sort of the command capsule to a large interplanetary stage that can attach and detach. You know, if we just put one of these large decouplers on the bottom of it, the Clampotron Senior, we could dock it on top of a large rocket. Of course, that's not going to dock. I would have to move those RCS ports a little bit up to make space for that. But if we did that, we could use this to move crew around between things on a large vehicle, to push and pull things that are docking, to act as a sort of tugboat, if you will, for a large mission, which something like the trip to Eve would be. So I don't know. I hope this was interesting for you guys to watch. I found it an interesting experiment to do, and while not as elegant as what SpaceX came up with, this is Operation Laythe's reusable powered lander, the Griffon. Thank you guys for watching. I'm Southern Wolverine. This has been another episode of Kerbal Space Program Operation Laythe. If you like the video, please like the video, comment, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. But for now, I will just wish you all a good day.